This is News Now. Today's guest is Christopher Ryan, Belmont's town planner. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Joanne. I appreciate it.
I wanted to have you on the show today to talk about the proposed zoning overlay changes that town meeting will be voting on in March. And we talked about these changes last August. You and Thayer came on Belmont Journal. But I wanted to know, I know that there have been some revisions to these changes since our last interview. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of these proposed changes and what town meeting will be voting on, can you explain first why the select board decided to create these zoning overlays for Belmont Center and Concord Avenue?
Yes. One of the key uh, goals for the town of Belmont is to try to expand its tax base and to improve the business climate so that revenue could be generated, services could be supported, facilities could be upgraded and added to. I think right now, the key related to economic development is trying to find a way to grow our business centers. Belmont Center being a key one of those, but there are other business centers as well. Brighton Street area, the Trapelo Road corridor, Lower and Upper Pleasant Street, and Waverly Square. We felt like because there was a vision plan that had already been developed for the center, that might be a good place to start. The objectives include improving the district. It's a great little place, but I think there could be a lot of improvements made to the environment there. Um, we consider the center an area which is close to transit, so there's a lot of opportunity for both businesses and residents to take advantage of that proximity. And so we're looking to expand the opportunity to build more commercial space, more residential space. And we also have one of the overlays we're considering would provide for the opportunity for hotels, which is something that our market analysis conducted by RKG in 2024 indicated that would be a good possibility for the town. So all of those things coming together, we felt like it was a great opportunity to add more residents to the center, which could be more shopping, more customers for the businesses there already and any new businesses, and provide for some greater variety of businesses that could serve the town's residents and also attract people from the outside.
Okay. And what is the difference between this overlay zoning and the MBTA overlay zoning that the town meeting already approved?
Well, the MBTA overlay was a state mandate that we had to comply with, and we developed that in as best we could to try to fit in with the goals and aspirations of the town. Even though we were required to do it, we think we did it sensitively, and it was focused on housing. There are some mixed use opportunities within it, but it is primarily a residentially based zoning, and again, a mandate. The center zoning is a town initiative that is not mandated. It is something that we feel fits within our economic development goals and action items. This is something that obviously the town doesn't have to do, but we feel that it's a great opportunity to add business to the center and add to the tax base.
I see. So they're not related. And
No, they're not related, and the center zoning is more business centric.
okay, got it. So can you explain to our viewers what each of the zoning bylaw amendments are? And why don't we start with, so there are two that town meeting will be voting on.
Right.
Let's start with the Belmont Center Overlay District. If you can just explain what that is, what the changes would be, what it would mean.
So the Belmont Center overlay consists of four subzones or sub-districts, each of which have a certain character that they're looking to establish. They range from a lower density to a slightly higher density, and they're located in, for example, the west side of Leonard Street. would have a lower profile than the east side of Leonard Street. And then there's an area just to the north of the district that's the lowest density, which really consists of only one parcel that's truly developable. And then there's an area behind the Leonard Street shops adjacent to Claflin Street that would be the highest, heights in the district, which would be 5 stories. And that would be sort of establishing a presence on Claflin Street, in that area behind the center itself. And then there's an extension down Concord Avenue toward the other overlay that I'll be describing in a second. And then Concord Avenue up to the light plant also has a presence in the district. So the second overlay would be the Center Gateway Overlay District, which would be primarily focused on hospitality, trying to attract a hotel to town. So we have several different uses that are allowed within that, but the primary use that we're trying to attract is hotels. Offices are certainly a possibility. This is one district where we do not have residential as a primary focus. There may be senior housing, but that would be by special permit. So again, business would be pretty much the sole function of the Center Gateway Overlay District. And that's the primary difference.
Okay. Well, I know that we're going to be showing a map here that will kind of show where this overlay is in both areas. Now, can you tell me like how many residential units, if all of this was allowed, it would add to Belmont Center?
Well, what we've done is we've done a build out analysis, which again would be the maximum allowed over time. And we do anticipate that the maximum would be about 530 residential units. Um, that's probably a very high, unlikely to be reached number because there are a number of lots in the center that probably will never develop. And so that probably should be taken out of the equation. So I would say that a good estimate of the high number would be somewhere between 350 and 500 units over time, probably maybe a 30-year time horizon.
Do you know if they would be 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom units? Any idea about
Yeah,
that?
we think that primarily there'll be studios and ones with a few twos. And this is because the type of district that it is, a town center above commercial, is primarily attractive to single person households, people who are maybe empty nesters, retirees, people who are starting out in the workforce, small household type units. And we think that because we don't think families are that interested in living above commercial storefronts. And so we're looking at other towns, and we've done some research in terms of who usually locates in town center type areas. And this seems to be confirmed through that analysis as well.
Okay, now next question. Parking is so limited as it is, so where would these residents park?
Well, we do have some parking minimums that are built into the zoning. And so we understand that there may be some lots in the project area that will find that challenging. And so we have a number of different elements built into the zoning that offer some flexibility. So you certainly obviously would be preferred to locate the parking on site, but you can also have shared parking agreements with other lots. You can make a claim for some publicly available parking. And we also know that there may be some shared parking opportunities through a timing so that you might have some uses that are daytime uses and some that are more evening oriented. And so that same parking could be available for those different constituencies over the course of a day. So we have a lot of provisions in there for flexibility. And we think that based on what the current inventory of parking in the project area is, not only the Claflin lot, but the street parking would be sufficient to handle any development in that area.
Okay, and how have neighboring residents and businesses reacted to this particular Belmont Center overlay district plan?
Well, I think it's as you might expect from a project like this. There's a range of different opinions. The people who are in close proximity obviously have their concerns, and we've tried to address them as best we can. We know that some shops and businesses have concerns about construction um, interruptions and things of that nature. They're worried certainly about where the rents will go. And we're gonna try to deal with that through construction management provisions of the zoning, so that the construction doesn't disrupt any more than it has to. And we're also going to hopefully work with the businesses to try to help them adapt as best we can, maybe try to find ways to help them thrive during this time. So there's a list of different economic development provisions that we're looking to work with through the Economic Development Advisory Committee and staff here in the Office of Planning and Building to help them in any way that we can.
Okay, and um, thinking about Belmont Center, I mean, there's a lot of existing buildings. There are some vacancies. So are there any like, I'm trying to understand, would they be rebuilding what's already there, or is there a empty lot somewhere that I'm not aware of?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it would be redevelopment. I mean, there may be some buildings in the center that can be built on top of a single story existing building.
Well,
Um,
for instance, the Bank of America building that had the drive-through, that's vacant. That's for lease, I believe, right?
yeah, that's likely a redevelopment site, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. I know CVS is already being redeveloped. What about the municipal light building? Is that part of this? The one that's across from Town Hall?
It is, and my understanding of that is that it still has up to 5 years of the need for the light plant to have their substation located within it. After that, I think the key is to determine, what needs to be done to allow for adaptive reuse of the existing building, if that can be done, or what would be necessary to retrofit the site for redevelopment.
Okay, and the Claflin parking lot that's behind all the little shops in Belmont Center, that wouldn't be changing, or does this include changes to that?
No, the Claflin lot is not part of the project area. That was removed a good while ago,
Right.
based on feedback from the businesses. They
Okay, well,
felt.
now let's talk about this Center Gateway Overlay District along Concord Avenue that you already talked about that would allow for um, one hotel or more hotels.
Well, I mean, there certainly could be more than one hotel, but there's only 3 lots located in the Center Gateway Overlay District, and 2 of them are potentially available for hotels. But we don't think that there will be 2 hotels built in that close of proximity to each other. So one or the other of the larger lots would probably be a hotel. Hopefully, if we can make that work. And the other lot probably is for some other business use, like perhaps an office space.
Can you tell me where these lots are that you're referring to? Because I'm thinking of Concord Avenue. I know where the post office is, the new library. I know where the high school is. So like where exactly are these lots
Sure.
located?
So the smallest of the 3 lots in the center gateway would be the gas station located adjacent to the high school fields. And then the next 2 lots as you approach the center. So it would be those three lots. I think the numbers,
Where as you approach the center, like I know where the bridge is and where the Lions Club is.
yeah,
But
so on Concord Avenue it would be 365, 375, and 385 Concord Avenue.
okay, so now as far as the hotels, let's talk about this. Tell me about the sizes of these hotels. I know that that's part of this zoning. There's different types of different classes. There's the inn, the boutique, and the business class. So I don't know if you want to explain to me what this zoning overlay would allow for, what types of hotels, how big.
Yeah, so we have a bylaw that we are proposing as part of Article 3 that would add and provide requirements for hotel uses. And there are the three classes that you named, the inns, the boutique, and the business class. We do imagine that in all likelihood, either the boutique or business class would be the most appropriate for the Center Gateway overlay district. We've basically calibrated the zoning to maximize the height at 5 stories and capped the number of rooms at 150. So that's the largest facility that you could build on the site.
So the largest hotel would be 150 rooms. Is that a, excuse me, business class?
Yeah, it would fit into that category, yes.
Okay, and a boutique, do you know how many a boutique is?
The boutique class would be up to only 100 rooms.
Okay, and the inn?
The inn is 25 rooms or less.
Oh, okay. So just to get this straight, this zoning overlay change, the Center Gateway Overlay District, uh, could allow for up to 3 hotels, or is there
Um,
any number?
Conceivably, each lot could have a hotel, but I don't think the gas station lot would be sufficient. My guess is that the gas station lot, if it were to be used, would be just used in conjunction with the larger adjacent lot.
Mhm. Okay. Now, residents, I'm sure you might have heard some pushback on this from residents who are concerned about a few things like traffic and bars in hotels, being that, it's near the high school. So, what would you say about those to residents about those concerns?
Well, traffic, we did have a traffic study that was conducted by the BSC group for us, and it did show that it really wouldn't create any significant traffic problems. We have a signalization scenario that provides signalization at the intersections above and below the bridge. And with that and full build out, they don't see any significant issues that would be creating additional traffic problems for the town. As to having a bar in a hotel half a mile from the high school, um, I don't know what those specific concerns might be, whether it be underage drinkers, but I mean, every every bar and every facility that serves alcohol has to have their due diligence and provisions for providing for making sure that their employees don't allow that to happen. So I think that's pretty much a non-concern in my mind.
Okay. So, what is the potential revenue if the town meeting does approve both of these overlay districts? What is the potential revenue that this could generate for the town?
Well, we conducted some fiscal impact analyses. We did have 12 different scenarios, including a scenario where we tried to calibrate the school age children numbers that we thought were most reasonable, um, given a lot of the different towns that have conducted these types of analyses, and also the RKG work that was done for the town. And based on the town's analyses based on those numbers, we show that anywhere from $1 million to over $3 million could conceivably be generated by the two overlay districts together. Now, we did conduct these fiscal impact analyses before we broke the districts apart and had the two overlays versus having it combined as one. But we still think that the fiscal impact would be virtually the same with the two combined. So we think it's going to be very positive, but again, it's over many, many years. We're not going to see that benefit right away, but hopefully cumulatively as development occurs, it will add to the tax base and over the time horizon of the projects that would be a part of any rezoning that would occur. We think that by say 30 years from now, we should probably approach those numbers.
Okay. Um, Preliminary studies by the warrant committee show that the revenue uh, from the full build out would be 250,000 or less. That's what I heard, but I don't know if that's true.
Well, I know the warrant committee is coming up with their own separate scenario, and that's fine. They probably have their own numbers that they chose for school-age children and some of the other inputs. And we'll just have to see ultimately what they come up with. But we feel pretty confident in our numbers. We had our finance director work on this with us very closely, and so we're confident that they reflect a reasonable scenario.
So at town meeting, will these numbers be presented so that or not? I don't know what's happening at town meeting so that they could vote on this. Do they have to do their reading ahead of time, or will they be presentations they'll be shown during town meeting?
Yeah, the planning board, myself, and the select board, I'm sure we're going to put together a presentation that talks about the impacts, talks about the project, talks about the different zones that we have. Yeah, we'll put something together that pretty much highlights every point that we're talking about today.
Okay, and this is March 4th is the town meeting, right?
Right.
Um, okay, so I'm actually a Belmont resident. You may or may not know that. Where do you live, by the way?
Waltham.
Oh, that's nice. A lot of Belmont people move to Waltham once their kids go out of the school system to save on the taxes. And I'm one of those people, actually. I have no more kids in the schools. I've lived in Belmont for 16 years. And we moved to Belmont for the schools, for our children. But we also like that it is a non-commercial community, although it does affect our pocketbooks considerably. I think, many residents feel they're concerned that these changes will change Belmont's country-like feel and its town of homes motto. What do you say to that?
Well, I think Belmont is at sort of an outlier in terms of the amount of commercial tax base that it has. We're not going to be a water town. We're not going to have a 50% commercial tax base, but we certainly could approach 10%, which I think is the immediate goal. And that's going to require a lot of work just to get there. And I don't think it's going to change the character of the town. It's not going to be transformational in the sense that people are worried about looking like a city or anything like that. We still have a significant amount of open space. The zoning that we're proposing is not um, a city-like pattern. At the most, it's 5 stories. Most of it is 3.5 or 4 stories. And we need to do this in a number of different districts so that we can try to get that tax base more balanced for the town and take some of the burden off the homeowners. Even relying on the homeowners now, we're challenged with the services that we can provide for the residents and the upkeep of facilities and keeping an appropriate amount of staffers to be able to provide those public services. So I don't think this is drastic or in any way transformational. I think it's a necessary step to move us toward a more healthy and balanced budget.
When I was reading about these overlays, it mentions form-based zoning, and maybe you can explain what that means and what other communities have zoning like this that are similar to Belmont.
Yes, so traditional conventional zoning, typically called Euclidean or use-based, is just that. It focuses on the use type. And form-based code is actually form front. It's form centered or centric, such that the idea is that what we're looking to do is create a desirable pattern of development. And then the uses follow from that. It's intended to create or recreate a street life where you have a building frontage on the sidewalk, you have walkable streets, you have design requirements which require the building to have certain elements that make it fit into the pattern of the existing area. And then by extension, we have some design guidelines that go even further than that, which prescribe a number of additional architectural requirements and other design issues, hopefully that we can get people to comply with. So it's more design centered, it's more building footprint and siting centered to basically get the pattern that we would like to see.
Okay. So these zoning changes proposed for Belmont Center and Concord Avenue, the town worked with a consultant to basically draft these proposals.
Yes, we contracted with a firm um, out of New Bedford and Miami, Florida, called Able City. It's a firm that has its principal a resident of Massachusetts. And so we've worked with them to develop the first draft of the zoning and graphical elements and the design elements within the zoning. And from that point, our staff took it over and carried the ball the rest of the way to develop the rest of the zoning pieces. So they stayed with us whenever we've needed to make some drafts or needed some additional graphics. They've provided those for us, and they'll be working with us on the Brighton area project as well.
Well, that's not going to be voted on in March. That's a future town meeting.
Future
So
town
more
meeting.
changes to come. And so there's been a lot of public meetings on this, right? So you've tried to educate the public about these. You've had a lot of public
We
meetings.
have. We've
They
had.
well attended?
Oh yeah, I think they have been. I think one of them was we approached 100 in one of them, and I think we've had 50 to 70 in some of the other ones. We've had 4 public listening sessions. We've had at least 18 sessions of public hearing with the planning board. We also had our workshop that was conducted by Able City back in February. And that we've also had some focus groups. And I've gone to a number of different boards and committees and given a presentation, taken Q&A. I know that Select Board member Dion has had a number of sessions in her home, and she's also gone to a number of boards and committees, most recently the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee just yesterday.
Oh, okay. So if approved by town meeting in March, what happens next?
We have 2 additional zoning bylaw amendments for annual. One of them is intended to improve our design and site plan review processes to be more robust, to be more detailed, and to be more clear. And we also have the construction management element that I was referring to earlier. So those are 2 pieces of the puzzle that we have to add at annual. And then there is a provision in the bylaw that it could not be utilized for development until at least November of this year. So essentially, it's what I term a sort of a sunrise clause instead of a sunset clause. It essentially means that it is unavailable for use by developers until at least November of this year.
Okay, so if I'm a developer and I want to put a hotel on Concord Avenue, um, what's the first step I would need to take come November?
Well, the first step that is going to be in the new design and site plan review requirements are a set of pre-application steps. And these pre-application steps include having a meeting with our development review working group, which is a group that we have of staff, department heads, and other staffers that would look at the pre-application materials and make recommendations for what a full application must have. So that's one of the early steps that would be taken. And there are other pre-application steps as well. And once you get through all of those pre-application steps, then you are ready to make a formal full application to the town. And that's when it goes to the planning board. And the planning board would conduct its design and site plan review process as we typically do, with obviously the new provisions that would be included. And there may be some peer review consultants that may be required. It might be for stormwater, it might be for traffic, it might be for some other provision in there. But we do have the ability, and it's more clearly spelled out how we develop and retain those peer review consultants to help us in the review process.
Still, it's a bit of a process, isn't it?
It is. It is. I mean, it's going to be robust. We hope that it's not unreasonable or unfair to developers, but on the other hand, we hope it's reasonable and provided for protections for the residents as well.
So if residents want to go to a planning board hearing and express their concerns about a project, how will their concerns be, will their concerns matter?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a reason we have public hearings so we can hear what people think. I think in many cases, excuse me, the public often brings up important facts related to possible impacts of development that sometimes go unnoticed by staff or by the professional consultants that are doing reviews. So we do appreciate that. And so, yeah, I mean, if they can work with us to make sure that all of the provisions are done appropriately, we do appreciate that input.
Well, how can residents learn more about these zoning district changes?
We have a fairly robust website. It's off the planning board's page on the town website. And there's a number of materials that you can download there. There's a frequently asked questions document. All of the bylaws drafts are located there. You can look historically at all the provisions and the drafts in the past so you can see how they've evolved. We have the traffic and parking reports there, the fiscal impact analysis. It's all there, and anything you can't find, just give us a call or send us an email, and we'll be glad to try to find it for you.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Until next time.